Turn up your mind.
This bill is the single most dangerous bill this committee has ever considered. This bill is designed to corrupt the election process permanently, and it is a brazen and shameless power grab by Democrats. They do this by instituting a bill that will promote widespread fraud and illegal voting. Apparently, the Democrats have determined that if millions of illegal aliens get to vote, if millions of criminals get to vote, that will benefit Democrats because they understand that criminals and illegal aliens are much, much more likely to vote for Democrats.
Okay, so you know what that is right there? That's called lying. That's called lying, everybody. Hi. Oh, lying. Biden just gave his very first press conference. It was very, very substantial. It was long. Brett and I were commenting on how we were all holding our breath. So, you know, in case he stuttered, for God's sake, okay? In case he stuttered. And, you know, he has a problem, right? Because if he stuttered or anything, then Fox News, you know, would just go crazy. But how relieved we were that we knew he wasn't lying to our faces like Ted Cruz did just there. Oh my God. So yes, you wonder if Biden's going to get it wrong, or if he's going to say it wrong, or if it's not going to be, you know, but it's better than wondering if Trump was ever going to say anything right, or if Trump was ever going to say anything that wasn't right out of the Nazi playbook, or if Trump was going to say anything that, you know, he couldn't do quickly. Do you know what I'm saying? So, you know, watching the Trump press conferences, which, by the way, you know, the media is so dishonest with you. Sometimes I just, you just want to scream. They were saying, oh, why didn't Biden have a press conference before now? And where was Biden's press conference? And, you know, Obama did one 30 days in, and Trump did one, you know, 27 days in. And why is Biden waiting? And why is Biden waiting? You know, Donald Trump didn't do a press conference for the last 300 days of his presidency. No one ever freaking mentions that. He just stopped doing that, and he didn't even have, you know, press briefings, okay? He went through so many, you know, Sean Spicer, and then Brett's girlfriend. She came and went. Now she's going to run for governor, you know. Sarah Honey Boo Boo. She's going to run for Boo Boo for governor. Anyway, we went through so many freaking people, Kayleigh McEnany, on, and none of them were capable of telling the truth because the truth did not flatter the former guy. Just wasn't flattering what was going. There was no infrastructure bill, no health care bill. Nothing was happening quickly. Nothing was happening effectively. You know, COVID was being lied about. We were told hydroxychloroquine. So, you know what I mean? He just stopped talking to the press and started tweeting like a madman because that's what he is. So we had a press conference today, and it was very substantive. I mean, we heard questions from every news organization having to do with the filibuster, having to do with guns, having to do with immigration reform, having to do with voting, having to do with, you name it, whatever. And let me tell you something. Biden commented on what the Republicans were doing and are trying to do, using the big lie that there was somehow voter fraud, which we all know there was not. Didn't happen. The premise that we need a solution to a problem that doesn't exist is getting us down this really bad road of voter suppression, right? And it's causing Ted Cruz to sit there and lie. It's causing Mitch McConnell to sit there and lie. It's causing all of these Republicans to lie about a solution that they say we need for a problem we do not have. And really what you need to understand is that voter suppression isn't a response to anything. It's the Republican strategy for winning elections, because that is the only strategy that they have. They're not changing their message. They're not doing anything to do immigration reform. And until and unless we do immigration reform, and until and unless when we see a hurricane slamming into Central American countries with very barely hanging on infrastructure, you know, with a bare minimum of an electric grid, with a bare minimum of, water control or dams or anything, and we see entire countries being washed away, and we sit there and do nothing to help them, nothing at all. Don't you know that we're going to have massive migration? And this is just the beginning of climate change. This is just, this year's surge at the border. This is all because of climate change. And you could expect massive changes in immigration all around the world, including here in our own country, as climate change starts to demolish, places with one tornado after another tornado after another tornado, one hurricane after another hurricane after another hurricane, one, flood after another flood after another flood. I mean, rising water, all the. So, Biden was asked about all this, and he was just very honest about all of that, saying, you can't just watch two hurricanes slam into Central America, sit back and do nothing and not expect to see an influx of people having to say to their children, your dad is in the United States. I'm so sorry that we have to do this, but there's no way that I could feed you. There's no way that I can clothe you. There's no way that I can protect you here. So you're going to join this group, and they're going to lead you to the American border. And when you get there, dad's phone number or your aunt's phone number or your uncle's phone number or grandpa's phone number or grandma's phone number or your mom's phone number is going to be written inside your pocket, and you show this to them. I mean, it was honest, and it was, but I have to say, on the voting suppression thing, this really got to me. So they asked the president of the United States about voter suppression. And I swear to God, this is the angriest I've ever seen Joe Biden, okay?
What I'm worried about is how un-American this whole initiative is. It's sick. It's sick. Deciding in some states that you cannot bring water to people standing in line, waiting to vote. Deciding that you're going to end voting at 5 o'clock when working people are just getting off work. Deciding that there will be no absentee ballots under the most rigid circumstances. It's all designed, and I'm going to spend my time doing three things. One, trying to figure out how to pass the legislation passed by the House.
H.R. 1.
Number one. Number two, educating the American public. The Republican voters I know find this despicable.
Yeah.
Republican voters. The folks outside this White House. I'm not talking about the elected officials. I'm talking about voters. And so I'm convinced that we'll be able to stop this, because it is the most pernicious thing. This makes Jim Crow look like Jim Eagle. I mean, this is gigantic, what they're trying to do. And it cannot be sustained. And do everything in my power, along with my friends in the House and the Senate, to keep that from becoming the law.
Yeah, and he was asked about the filibuster, and he said, look, I don't have a bad record of getting things through the Senate. I don't have a bad record of being bipartisan, and I don't have a bad record of reaching across the aisle. Okay, but if I can't, then we'll have to approach it in another way. We'll have to do something in another way, because the filibuster has been used 5 times more than it was after its original invention. And it was an invention. It's not in the Constitution. And primarily to stop progress on civil rights. And he's totally aware of that and understands that if this H.R. 1, which is S1 in the Senate, same bill, is filibustered, he's going to have to go about it in another way. And I believe that our solution, which was to carve out a no filibuster rule for civil rights bills, would be the best.